called life. We appreciate you being here with us as Wake Up Call. All this week is live from Greensboro, North Carolina, and you can see Greensboro in the skyline behind me here. Happy to be here in North Carolina once again. I want to thank the wonderful state for welcoming Wake Up Call to your digs here and to be able to be down here in Greensboro once again, so we appreciate it so very much. Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, as well as on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. So make sure you head out there and support local today and fill your cup up right. I know a bunch of you, after being up late last night with the news, probably need some coffee this morning, so make sure you head out to Cafe Kubal for that. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com is what's popping. We have three fantastic guests this morning of Syracuse Orange basketball history that are going to be weighing in on Jim Boeheim retiring, Adrian Autry taking over, and the current state of Syracuse. Hakim Warrick going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. The block heard round the world in that national championship, 81-78 over Kansas in 2003, 20-year anniversary. We'll be talking with Hakim in just a second. And then around 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, Roosevelt Bouie Jr. will be joining me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we'll finish off the show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time with Otis Hill. So a lot of great and fantastic guests coming up here for you this morning to weigh in on a very unique day in the history of not just Syracuse basketball, but basketball in general. And you're here with us on YouTube.com and Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as on WakeUpCallDT.com, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and on Podbean on WakeUpCallDT.Podbean.com for internet streaming radio. With that being said, I am honored and privileged to welcome my first guest to the broadcast, who just had his jersey retired and put up in the rafters. Lots of emotions for this guy right now. Hakim Warrick. Hakim, how you doing today?
Hey, good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I mean, you have had one of the most unique last few days. You celebrate the 20-year anniversary of the national championship. Your jersey gets retired at Syracuse. Your coach retires. A lot of emotions going on. I'd love to hear from you kind of what's on your mind, what's on your heart right now. How are you navigating a very long week of emotions?
I'm doing well, man. It was a great weekend. I was able to see a lot of the team, some guys I haven't seen for a long time. So it was good to get back up there and see old teammates and coaching staff and just some fans that's been there the whole time. And for me, it was my first time since senior night to actually watch a game in the dome, or be there at the game in the dome. So it was just a wonderful weekend.
And when you went back there, like you said, as your first time since senior night, why has it been so long between when you've been there and your playing days to now? How come there's been that distance there? I know you've been playing a lot and obviously doing a lot of work and whatnot, but just the span of time in between.
Yeah, just working for the most part. Like I've been back up to campus a couple times, but it's mostly in the summertime and off season. I was able to watch the team play in a couple different times in New York and in DC. I was able to get to the Final Four that year, but I haven't had a chance to just get back up to the dome just because me playing and either playing or being away for the last couple of years. Just haven't had the time to get back up there like during the season to watch a game.
That coming from Hakim Warrick here with us. Hakim, I want to go to the 20-year anniversary first. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I did, and I said this on yesterday's special broadcast we did last night about Jim Boeheim and Adrian Autry, that back in 2003, hand to God, I made the decision of picking Syracuse to win the national championship. I was one of two people at Christian Brothers Academy, which is right down the street from Syracuse University, and I picked you guys to win. Most people thought I was nuts. They thought I was a homer. They thought there was no way it was going to happen. So I want to say first and foremost, thank you for making me right. I do appreciate that. I'm sad I didn't bet $1 million. No, I'm kidding. But bring me back to 2003. It's been 20 years, but I feel like you can close your eyes and go right back there.
Yeah, so 20 years ago, it's just a whole different landscape than the college basketball now. It was traditionally senior and junior, like upperclassmen led teams that won and were successful, and we were not that. So we made a nice run, and just throughout the whole entire journey, like at every step, once we got to the Sweet 16, we were running to the Elite Eight. We ran into a team full of upperclassmen in Oklahoma, and we just would hear how, okay, Syracuse this young team has made a nice run, but the run is over, and it just kept going to Texas and then Kansas, and we just kept going. So at that time, it wasn't too many teams winning with mostly freshmen and sophomores being their leader, their leading scorers and leading the teams and things like that in minutes. So we knew we were the underdog, but I think that kind of helped us because we were naive to the fact and I know how much pressure we had on us.
Yeah, and I remember, the conversation back then. A Big 12 team is going to win the championship. No doubt in our minds, Big 12, Big 12, Big 12. And you guys had to go through Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas, and Texas. So you single-handedly knocked the Big 12 pretty much out of the tournament. What does that mean to you when you reflect on that? And I think it's kind of ironic 20 years later that some people are saying the Big 12 is the best conference going into this year's tournament. But knowing that not only did people count Syracuse out as a 3 seed, but that they said specifically the Big 12 was going to win whatever team it was, and the fact that you, as a team, took down almost the entire conference.
Yeah, I felt that the Big East was definitely the best conference, and it was just it was good. There's not too many teams. We might have been the first team ever to win a Big East championship, a national championship, and a Big 12 championship in the same season.
I like that.
It was like I said, those Big 12 teams were all some of the best in the nation, and they had some good seniors and juniors, and they just a lot of the experts picked them to win, but we just believed that we could play with anybody. And like I said, I thought that the Big East was the best conference at the time, so we felt like we played against the best teams in the nation, and we competed and won against them, so we felt that we could beat anybody.
That coming here from Hakim Warrick here this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. I thought that was incredible what you just said. I appreciate that very much. To win a Big East championship, a national championship, and a Big 12 championship. I like that. That's very fitting, Hakim, and very true in all sense of the imagination. So looking at this run that you had in 2003, and then getting that phone call, I'd love for you to share with us, make us a fly on the wall when you got that phone call, who you talked to, and how it came about that your jersey was going to get retired.
Oh, so I'm out here coaching right now with G League Ignite. The head coach is another Syracuse alum, Jason Hart. So at the time, I got the text or the call from our media person, and she was like that I had an interview request for like Syracuse. They wanted to talk about the 20-year anniversary and things like that. And the crazy thing was, like, I just did I just did like 2 interviews about it. I just had a whole sit down, like video recorded with Mike Waters about the 20-year anniversary. So I was like, "Are you sure?" Like, I just did like interviews. He was like, "Yeah, they just wanted to ask you. It's with Syracuse." And I was like, "Man, I just did that. Like, they can't take nothing from that." I was like, "All right, well, whatever." So I did. I had that set up. So we had practice. I think we were on the road. I forgot where we were. We were on the road, and so Jay Hart was like, "Yeah, you got your interview, and we gonna all go with you." So he brought the whole coaching staff with me. And I was actually trying to run away from them because I thought they just was coming just to like be in the room and just mess with me, laugh and stuff like that. So I was trying to get away from them, but they kept following me. So I'm in the room. They got it set up, the computer. I'm waiting to do the interview. They over there. I'm just expecting them to just be in the background trying to make me laugh the whole time. So I go to get up there and I see Coach Boeheim, and I'm looking like, man, I'm about to do an interview with Boeheim. Like, it's weird, but okay. So then we're about to start. We start talking, and then they break the news. The AD was there too. It was those two, him and Boeheim, and I definitely had no clue. I really thought it was a regular interview, so it was shocking. And then Jay Hart and coaching staff, because Jay knew the whole time. They set it up with him, so then he just congratulated me, and it just was a total surprise.
That's incredible. You know, I love that, and I appreciate you sharing that story because it's really awesome that that's how you found out. And that's how you knew. So they knew the whole time. They're sitting here. You're thinking they're going to mess with you. You're thinking, Jay Hart and the crew are just going to be there to try and make you laugh and whatnot. But here they are, getting ready to celebrate you, getting ready to, see this moment happen. When you heard those words, when you heard, Hakim, we would like to celebrate you by retiring your jersey. We would like for you to live on in the history forever. When they gave you that moment and that opportunity to live on forever in the world of Syracuse athletics, not just basketball, to take a step back and look at that, when you received that honor and that opportunity, what went through you in that moment at that time when you realized, hey, you're going to be one of just a few people in the history of Syracuse to be asked the question, would you like your jersey retired?
Oh, man, just extremely grateful. Like you said, it's not too many people that get that honor and have that honor for what I think is one of the best elite basketball programs in the nation. It makes it even more special. There's some of the best college basketball players to ever put on a jersey are up there in those rafters, and to have my name next to those names, the Carmelos, John Wallace, and Derek Coleman, Pearl Washington. There's just so many. To be up there with those guys, it's just an honor. And I mean, the further I get away from it, the more special I got chills just watching the video and just watching my jersey go up there, and just being able to share that with my family and my son. Just to see that atmosphere for the first time, just something that I'll always be able to sit back and years from now, maybe my grandchild, to go up there and just see my name up in the rafters is just something that's just an amazing feeling.
And you got to do that. Speaking here with Hakim Warrick, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum, and jersey is now retired and hanging in the rafters of the Dome. We're here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios to do that with your teammate Jerry McNamara, what was it like to share that with him and have that kind of uniqueness, right? Because you're coaching now, he's coaching now. So to walk out on that floor and to be able to not only see your jersey retired, but have it be right next to his, just what that meant for you to have that moment as a duo and not just a single moment.
It feels good, man, to do it together because we accomplished something together that a lot of people don't get a chance to accomplish. And then what made it even more special is to have our teammates, because a lot of people probably wouldn't have been able to make it, but because we were celebrating the 20-year anniversary as well, to be able to go there and go out there together and just to have the whole team back to witness it and share the moment with us the entire weekend, from watching the championship to our getting a big win on Saturday and just celebrating at halftime with the 03 team, and then to top it all off, for us to go up there together. It just made it a special weekend, a special night.
And you, like you said, you got to be around your teammates from 2003. To some of you, it was the first time you've seen each other in 20 years. So what was that like to be back on the floor and have that moment again? I mean, you're back on the court that you played on. You're back where it all started when you won in 2003. It started in the Dome. 20 years later, here you are in the Dome. So to be around your teammates, to see everybody, because people are doing different things, right? People have families and jobs and whatnot. They move away. So when you get to be there with everyone, what are some of your favorite memories that you had from being on the court to, sitting and having dinner, to being with the media again? I mean, you guys got to do some special things together once again. What was kind of the lasting memory for you? And, had there been people that you really hadn't seen in 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, it hasn't. I've seen pretty much everybody. I've seen everybody, but Billy, that I haven't seen him since I left Syracuse. What was 18 years ago. So to see Billy, that was definitely special, because he was a special part of that team. So to go out there and when he came down, like, everybody's so excited because he's just a great guy and just been he was such a big part of the team. But he's just one of those guys that you just, even when he was on campus, you just never know when you was going to see him. So to see him and share that moment with him was a special time. And just for me, the whole weekend, like the highlight was just at dinner, just sharing all the stories and just getting good laughs about some of the stories that we had in the past, and just all the funny times and things like that. Was able to share a couple stories up there when we watched the game on Friday night. But just seeing everybody and just talking and picking up where we left off. Even if we haven't seen each other for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, a couple months, like, you get up there with Melo. I probably haven't seen him in like a year or so, but every time we see each other, it's like time has not passed. We just pick up right from when we last seen each other, and it's just something that we have that special bond that we'll always have together. And every time we see each other, it's just love, and it's just a great time.
Hakim Warrick here on the show, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum, on the heels of a lot of things happening. His jersey being retired, 20-year anniversary of the 2003 National Championship, and some guy named Jim Boeheim deciding to hang it up after 47 years. So let's get into that. Jim Boeheim has been the head coach of Syracuse longer than you've been alive, longer than I've been alive. And, that the day was going to come at some point, Hakeem, I'd be lying to you if I told you that there are times in my life where I'm like, it's not going to happen. Like Jim's going to live longer than I do, right? So I'm going to be 100. He's going to be 170 something or whatever. And so to have it happen has put me in a place where I've had a lot of emotions. I woke up, I dreamt about it last night. I woke up this morning and I still have that like feeling in my gut, that twisting of my, insides, and just kind of sitting here this morning with some heaviness. How have you handled the news of your coach deciding to step away?
I mean, I think it's a little unfortunate. Like you said, he is Syracuse basketball,
Yeah.
and it was a weird ending, to say the least. I kind of felt like the speech he gave on Saturday. When he was giving it, I was in the back like, is he about to say?
Yeah.
He's done. Like it kind of felt like he said goodbye without saying goodbye. But at that time, I wasn't. He didn't. So I thought he had at least maybe 1 or 2 years. But then the rumblings came out yesterday, and the way it happened, it just was a weird time. But I'm happy for Red. And I think the program is in good hands. It's just unfortunate that he didn't get his the way other coaches, like like if we would have known that was his last game in the Dome, it would have made it even more special. And to really get a true send off like Roy Williams and Coach K. Those legendary coaches. It's just a shame that he wasn't able to get that. But I mean, I guess if you could take any one good thing about it is that the celebration of the 03 team, and just having everyone to come back and just celebrating that. But it just was unfortunate that it wasn't. That everyone wasn't aware that would be the last time that they would see him in the Dome.
When you look at that, do you think that in a way maybe it wasn't all him, and that maybe this was a university decision or thought, the way that it went down, that if it was him 100%, that he would have told you guys, or he would have done it during the ceremony or after your ceremony or something like that? I mean, do you feel that there was maybe some not knowing on his part in a sense, for sure, and that's what led to it? Because, I mean, from my perspective, I would think if this was 100% Jim Boeheim's decision, then I feel like he would have celebrated it at the Dome and not in Greensboro.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems that way. Like I think I didn't really see the whole. I saw a little bit of the interview when they were asking if he was retired, and he said it wasn't his decision. So if it wasn't his decision, then it had to be someone else's. It doesn't sound like it was truly 100% his decision. So I think he kind of knew. That's why, like, just the whole weekend, like when I was able to go to the awards banquet on Sunday as well, and he was kind of emotional. I think he knew, or it was talks about it. I wasn't 100% sure. I don't know if whoever made the decision was 100% sure, or which way they were waiting to see how the season would end up. But it's just the whole handling of it was just weird, and just it's just not the way you expect it to end for such a legendary coach. It just was too much uncertainty, and it just happened fast. It's just we were actually at the game. We had a game yesterday. And it was like rumblings before. He said he made his retirement speech. I think that was maybe around 3 or 4 o'clock or something like that. And then next thing I know, about time we were about to start our game, which was at 7. There was announcements that he had retired, and Red was named the coach. So it happened quick, but I think the way it happened, it had to have been rumblings or talks about it for some time now. So, but it just was for the people that wasn't in the know, like me and most of the people. It just was just a weird way for something to end.
Yeah, not a proper send off by any stretch of the imagination, and a tough thing to take in. When you reflect on Jim Boeheim, everybody's got an opinion about Jim Boeheim. I firmly believe that a baby that is born today, 3 minutes ago, has an opinion about Jim Boeheim. And so, and I've dealt with that, my entire career of almost 20 years of broadcasting, because I started, right after you guys had won the championship in the same year. So reflecting on the last almost 20 years and everything that people have said to me or said around me, it's easy to know that everyone has taken up some type of an opinion on Jim Boeheim for the most part. Knowing him as your coach, what can you tell me about being recruited to Syracuse? I want to go back to your recruitment days. And then as a second part, I would love for you to tell me how you would describe Jim Boeheim to someone who doesn't know him.
I mean, he's a visionary. There's not too many from playing that zone exclusively. I think that's what changed the whole program around and the game around, and that's why he was able to win, because he's seen things that kind of thought outside the box and did things that a lot of coaches and or programs that did not do. And I know he did that with me. Being able to see, I wasn't a highly recruited guy, and for him to see something in me that a lot of the top coaches did not see at the time, he was like the first one. And then once he saw that, like the people would come in, and a couple other schools, big time schools, started to recruit me, but he was the first one to see it. So he's I would say he's got a good eye for talent and just thinking outside the box. And he just knew basketball. Like he was one of the best coaches I had, and we needed to play, and we needed to draw something up. For the most part, it was we would be able to execute it and get a good shot out. And he just bled Orange and just loved the program. He loved the city, and he just was passionate about it and just loved it. And that's why he did it for so long. And it was probably tough for him to walk away, because he was just Syracuse basketball, and just Syracuse, not just Syracuse basketball, but just Syracuse the city. Like, it was so much a part of it.
And you said you weren't highly recruited. He was the first person to see you. What can you say about that recruiting trail and what it was like, and how he interacted with you and made you feel special at a time where you didn't think a lot of people were looking at you? Like, personally, what are some of those things that happened? Did he, show up at the house? Did he show up at a game? How did he interact with you, and how did that recruitment go for you? Because I feel like, people say that Jim Boeheim has fallen off in recruiting and he doesn't know how to recruit. And I would love someone who was recruited to Syracuse to give his thoughts on that.
Yeah, like I got into Nike camp because I came a day late because 2 players got injured and I was like a fill-in. So I was just I wasn't ranked in the top 100 nationally. I mean, at the time I was getting recruited by some of the local schools, like mid-major Atlantic 10 type schools, but no like no major schools were really recruiting me. And he just saw me, like it wasn't even in games. He just saw my length and athleticism, like in drills, and like I heard the buzz from that. Like I guess he said something, and there was just like a little buzz about it, about me after him watching me, and then from that was able to kind of snowballed, and I just remember him coming to, like, I'm from West Philadelphia. It's an area called the Bottom. It's not one of the best neighborhoods, and it's this gym that I used to always go to on 34th Street. And like I said, at the time, like I wasn't like highly recruited, and there's been so many guys that had come in that gym that were all pub, the top players in Philadelphia. At that time, I wasn't even like a Philadelphia like legend. There's so many that came before me, and I just remember him coming to that gym, and just the people were just like shocked. Like Jim Boeheim, like out of all the players have come through this gym, the guys that played in Temple and Canisius and schools like that. And here is one of the best coaches in all of college basketball, actually, in the gym. Like that was like something that I'll never forget. Was actually a guy that was coming up writing poems and stuff like that, and Coach was listening to him and just was friendly. A lot of other people would have been annoyed and probably tried to get him out of there, but Coach was patient with him. He listened and he stayed in there, and he was unbothered of just being in the chaos of West Philadelphia, and just was able to come there and come to my house and just to show that type of interest in me. Seeing that from a Hall of Fame coach, it was just an unbelievable feeling, and it made me feel special.
Well, and I thank you for sharing that, Hakim, because I think it really it talks to the personality that people don't see of Jim Boeheim. And what I think is amazing and is that your story, like you said, not the best part of town in West Philadelphia and whatnot, and yet he comes in and there's somebody doing poetry and stuff, singing in front of him, and he's just taking that on and saying, okay, and being kind and whatnot. It seems like something that we don't talk about with Jim is that he's rather fearless, right? And he's willing to go anywhere, put himself in any situation, do anything, and and to go to any gym, how big or small it is, and how well somebody's known or not, the fearlessness, the eye for talent, the desire to physically go there. You might laugh when I say this, but when I picture Jim Boeheim rolling up to cities and towns all over the place, it's kind of like, when a rapper pulls up and you're like, who's in that car? So like, there's something to be said about, the fact that Jim not only looks at the talent from afar, but comes close to find that talent. Did that with you, did that with so many. And, that he's willing to come to your neighborhood, to come to your home and shake your hand and see you and talk to you and understand you. And I think that that's a lost art. The hand-to-hand combat is what I call it. And, you kind of spoke about it a little bit there, but to go a little deeper, just what it means to you that he's that coach that wants to know about your life, wants to know where you came from, wants to know what makes you tick. And when he does roll up, does it feel like Biggie? Because I feel like sometimes it feels like Biggie.
Yes. Yeah. It's like you said, it definitely was not the best area. And just to see it, I mean, it shocked me. So I know everybody else was looking like this. What is Coach Boeheim doing at the gym? Like it was like that was the name of it. So it's just like you said, he's got an eye for talent, and like you said, he's comfortable because he's done it before. He's going to get he's been in New York and probably in Detroit to get Derek Coleman. So it's just once if he sees something that is going to help his team, he's just going to go out there and do whatever it takes. And that's why he's won as many games as he's won, because he's willing to go out there and get the talent. And once he's able to get the talent, he's able to get the most out of him and get us better. So he'll always go down as one of the elite coaches in all of college sports.
For you, Hakim, people said he had lost touch. You just saw him a few days ago. Do you feel that way or not feel like when you were coached by Jim Boeheim to seeing him 20 years later, what did he look like, sound like, feel like to be around him again? You know, who's Coach B today? Is he similar to the guy that you had before? Is he a little bit more mellow now? How would you describe, Jim? Because I feel like, there's people that said, oh, he's going to retire because he's lost touch. He doesn't seem as into it. He doesn't seem as emotional. And I don't know. I mean, I hear people say that all the time, and I don't think it's a fair assessment. You don't know who somebody is from the inside out. And I've defended Jim Boeheim to the point of, probably people yelling at me. But, he's a prisoner of his own success. The man created the standard at Syracuse, and it's the same standard that people, if he doesn't hit it, get mad at him for. I mean, without Jim Boeheim, what is Syracuse basketball? So you had him as your coach. 20 years later, you got to stand in a room with him and talk with him again. How is he today as opposed to yesterday from your point of view?
I think he's just as committed. And I think he's in touch. I think so. But I think the one thing that may have done him in is just the change in landscape of the whole Neil situation, and just not wanting to just in a sense just paying players and that the whole thing getting messy and things like that. I think that if anyone could say something about being in tune with the new era, that's something that he really didn't like and didn't think was good for college basketball. So that may have been the I think. The thing that got the ball rolling, but in terms of his passion for the game, I didn't see any changes from when he coached me 20 years ago.
Here with Hakim Warrick for a couple more minutes here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cubal studios live this morning from Greensboro, North Carolina, as we are calling this home for Wake Up Call on the road. Hashtag Wake Up Call OTR, and down here in the great state of North Carolina for the ACC tournament, keeping an eye on the country as well and watching games till the wee hours of the night, seeing championship week happen all over the country. Hakim, now that Adrian is going to be the head coach, the forwards need a coach. Do you have anybody on your mind? Would you take a phone call? I'm asking because I'm asking, and I'm just interested. So you and I have spoken candidly anytime we've talked, and you can feel free to say whatever you want to say. But somebody needs to coach the forwards. You were a pretty good forward at Syracuse, I think, and you blocked a shot where I believe you jumped 37 feet into the air, but I could be wrong. And so it could be 39. I'm not sure. But would you take that phone call? Is there somebody that you think he should call? You're working with Jason Hart. His name comes up a lot. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's a lot of good candidates out there. There's a lot of. We actually just had a game in Toronto against Demetrius Nichols, who's coaching up there in the G League with the Raptors. Arenze Anawaku we just had a game against them with the Go-Go. So we got a lot of players right now that's out there coaching and are good candidates. But like I'll just leave that up to Red and the staff. I believe the program is in really good hands. And I'm just they have a really good team. If they're able to get most of the guys to come back, I think we'll have a pretty good team next year. So I'm really confident in Syracuse basketball in the next years to get back to the Syracuse basketball that we've come to know and love.
And a final note here: you kept saying that the program's in really good hands, and I agree with you. When it comes to Adrian Red Autry, consider him a good friend over the years here, and have got to do a lot of things with him, speak with him, and get to know who he is. And years ago, he told me, and I wrote this in my article, we were sitting at a restaurant, elbow to elbow, and I asked him if he wanted to be a head coach someday, and he said, yeah. And I can't believe how many years ago that was, and I told him that he deserved it. And seeing that he gets to do it at his alma mater is a pretty special thing. You've said over and over again that you feel good about it. Why do you feel so good about it?
He didn't coach me, but like just talking to all the players, and I was able to go and go to the senior banquet to hear all the great things that they said about him. It kind of reminds me of some of the assistant coaches that were on that I was on a team with Coach Weave and Coach Hop. So if he's from that mode, I think the program is in good hands because I've heard nothing but good things from his ex players and just talking to Jerry and Griff as well. Nothing but I've heard nothing but good things. So I just feel like the program is in really good hands, and we had a young team last year, and they're just going to get better. So just looking forward to the future. It was unfortunate ending for Coach. I wish him a happy retirement. It's nothing that no one can take away what he did for not only the basketball program, but the school and for just the whole upstate New York area in general. Just a legendary career. So I just wish him the best and the happiest retirement, and just looking forward to a bright future for the Syracuse program.
Coming from Hakim Warrick, the national champion, the Big 12 champion, the Big East champion, and someone whose jersey is hanging in the rafters, deservedly so. And I'm happy, Hakim, because I think I told you this, but every time people talked about the championship team, they're like, oh, Melo, G-Mac, da-da-da. And I said, yeah, and if that guy, Hakim Warrick, didn't block that shot in the corner, we could have been to overtime. So, it's nice to see that someone's putting that jersey up there that deserves to be up there and should be up there forever, so that people say, who's Hakim Warrick? And then someone can tell them, and I'll have no problem doing that, walking up going, he's the guy that blocked that shot that prevented this game from going any farther and secured the victory for Syracuse. He made one of the best defensive plays in the history of college basketball. So with that being said, Hakim, I want to thank you for being a part of the show today, and thank you for the kid in me having an opportunity to talk to a hero growing up for me. So thank you for everything that you've done. I look forward to talking with you soon. I appreciate the work that you're doing now with the Ignite and Jason Hart. And, God bless as always. I can't thank you enough for what you've done for Syracuse, for my city, and for the upstanding person that you are. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Just wanted to thank you and just thank all the whole Orange Nation out there. Like I said, it was a wonderful weekend, and just the love and support. Just wanted to let everybody know that the love and support has been felt and is greatly appreciated. So thank you, and thank everyone else.
And just so people know, there's 2 good shot blockers on the team right now, and maybe they could get some help from Hakim Warrick. I don't know, man. I'm trying to put your resume out there. So I appreciate you, man.
All right.
Take care. That coming from Hakim Warrick here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. So I appreciate his time as always, and appreciate having him on the broadcast. So big ups to him, and many thanks to him for being a part of the show this morning as they were getting ready with shoot around and everything else going on. We're jumping right into my conversation with Roosevelt Bouie Jr. here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Rosie texted me that I'm late, and he's 100% right that I was late. We ran a few minutes over here with Hakim, so he's free to yell at me on live radio and video. Mr. Roosevelt Bouie Jr. Rosie, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Dave. Nothing to yell at. Just want to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah, no, we're definitely good here this morning. Interesting morning, a morning that you've never had before and I've never had before, and that's a morning where Jim Boeheim's not the head coach of Syracuse. How are you reacting to it, being a part of the beginning of his career and the first 100 wins of his career?
Yeah, I'm just very, very pleased and blessed that he decided to come to my little great metropolis of Kendall and ask me to play at Syracuse University to bring me into that family.
It's been an interesting last few months, right? There's the Louie and Bowie show, and Louie Orr passes away, and now, Jim is stepping away. How have you dealt with the emotions of the last few months, knowing that, the 50% of the Louie and Bowie show is watching over you now from heaven, and the coach that coached the Louie and Bowie show is stepping away? I mean, your perspective is a unique one right now.
Well, I'll always miss my teammate and friend. It was an honor to play with him. Great player and greater person. And speaking with Coach Boeheim, he just said, you guys started it, and it'll be hard to replicate. You won't see 2 players like that again, which I appreciate that. And he meant so much to the university over the years. Like, there's so many people that don't know that only know Coach Boeheim at Syracuse University. So he just did so much for the university, so much for upstate New York and with their foundation. And I look for bigger and better things out of Coach.
How it went down, Rosie, we know that Jim is maybe not the fanfare guy, right? To have a farewell tour or anything like that, but the way that it happened from my seat, I've covered Jim for almost 20 years, my entire career as a professional, and spoken with him for more than half of that time when I came back to Syracuse, over a decade ago. The way that it kind of just, I mean, I'm in the press conference room down in Greensboro. We know that Jim is maybe not the biggest fan of Greensboro as opposed to other locations in Madison Square Garden, and I understand that. I understand what the Garden brings, and I don't think anything can compete with the Garden. So he's down here in Greensboro. He's having a press conference. He doesn't say he's retired, but he doesn't say he's not. He does say that he gave a speech already. And then I go into the locker room. I interview the players. We talk about, his future and what it could potentially be and whatnot. I walk out. I shake Jerry McNamara's hand. I leave the hallway. I go in to cover the Pitt Georgia Tech game. Oh, no, it was before that happened. And I get an email from Syracuse University. Hey, guess what? Jim Boeheim's retiring. And it just seems so... It seemed like announcing a coach who had been in the game for 3 years. Hey, we're stepping away from whatever. 47 years and no true press conference. There was no quote from Jim in the story that was sent to us. It just felt wrong, and I wanted to get your thoughts.
Listen, they don't. Nobody asked me anything, so I'm just finding out. What just from you what happened. I don't. So how could I comment on something I didn't know about?
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed strange. I mean, I feel like he's done so much. I mean, you can speak to it, of what he's done for the university, what he's done for the city, what he's done for the community, and you've talked about it a little bit here.
There's nobody that's done more, and but I also look at it from my point of view. When I retired, to me it made sense because I said, well, I didn't tell anybody when I was going to start playing, so I didn't make an announcement when I stopped. That's just me looking at it. I have a very simplistic country boy way of looking at things. So, but all of that, I'm not an expert on how you do things like that because I haven't dealt in that arena. I just know that he's the greatest coach to come out of upstate New York, and he did an excellent job at putting all of me together with all my other brothers that have played at Syracuse University and that I'll stay in contact with and been in contact with my entire life.
How do you wake up this morning knowing that, he's stepping away? I mean, you were part, like I said, you were part of the beginning. I mean, you, from your point of view, I mean, he's been everything, and you were a part of that everything. You were a part of what he was building way back in the beginning to what he's building today. So, I mean,
I can tell you this, that I finally got back up to the university for the first time since because they did the remodeling.
Yeah.
And I was in there for the last game, and it was great. It was beautiful. It was emotional. It was heartfelt. Listen to everybody talk and listen to Coach talk then. And I just went home. It was action-packed, emotional. Jesse played fantastic. The team played great after, he whipped them into shape and got them to get, one last great performance out of there for the home crowd. And, I have nothing but positive, upbeat, just thankful for being a part of that whole family there. So that's when I left there. I took my niece to that game, and my niece Tracy is the same girl she's a little girl that I had on my arm when I used to come out my freshman year to sign autographs. She was 2.5, 3 years old. So. And I just went back there with her. We saw the last game. It was beautiful. It was emotional. We got to talk to everybody, and it was good stuff. We loved it.
To have that memory, like you said, when you used to come out and sign autographs, she was the one on your arm, and to have her on your arm once again, like I said, that unique point of view that you have, Rosie, How have the years looked to you as Syracuse? These decades of Boeheim, from having her on your arm to having her on your arm. What does this timeline look like through the eyes of someone who's one of the greatest to ever play at Syracuse?
Well, listen, I'll best put it in a way like when I first went to Italy. I remember the first 2 or 3 years, and then I remember I was retiring. Everything in the middle went by as a blur. There were good times, bad times, a lot of fun, just living one day at a time and living in the moment and understanding that we're living through a great experience. Same thing at Syracuse. It was great to come back and see how everybody's so close and doing things with the university, charity work, and then specifically with Coach Boeheim and his foundation. So I have nothing but great thoughts and great memories for being around the university. I went to Final Four. I actually went to Houston to the Final Four and did the game right from courtside. It doesn't get any better than that. Following my team in the Final Four and then doing the game for Turner broadcast on courtside. It was really a beautiful thing for me.
Syracuse Orange basketball alum Roosevelt Bouie Jr. here with me on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. I feel like this is an easy answer, but I want to get your take on it, Rosie, because you and I have spoken for many years. Is Jim Boeheim to you one of the top 5 greatest coaches of all time when it comes to college basketball?
I have one. I'm extremely biased, so I don't really care about anybody else's coach. I only care about coaches that I coach for. I'm extremely loyal, and he's the first coach that when I came to the game of basketball, I knew nothing about the game of basketball except work hard and run the other guy until he drops dead. So, and I was told by Coach, listen, all I need you to do is work as hard as you can. He said, I can teach you basketball, but I can't teach you how to work hard. And that right there made it fantastic for me, because I no longer was thinking in 40 different directions. I became single-minded and focused to never be outworked. And at the end of the day, when I finished, I could go home and I could sleep well, understanding that I put it all on the line, and I don't have to second guess what I did or anything, because I did everything that I was capable of doing.
Why is Jim Boeheim such a good coach to you? Why do you feel like he's translated over the decades, and continued to be relevant, continued to win games, continued to recruit players? Why do you feel like Jim has been so special for so long?
For me, his knowledge of the game, which was immediate. I met Coach Boeheim when he was 30. I was 16 years old, and then I went to basketball camp here when he was the assistant coach, and his knowledge of the game was amazing then. And the fact that he's very simple. He told me what he expected out of me, and I'd go out and do it, and he'd come back and say, okay, that went well. We'd like you to work a little bit harder on some other things, and I would go and do that. Few words, straight to the point. It made it very easy to understand what it took to get better.
We look at your time there. As I mentioned before, one of the first recruits by Jim Boeheim. He takes over in 76, and you're part of the beginning of this 47 years of wonder and excitement at Syracuse. Being tethered to the beginning of Jim Boeheim as a head coach, how do you view that? It seems surreal, and there's few people that can say it, but to be a part of the beginning of Jim Boeheim, and let's remind everybody that in the time you were at Syracuse had 100 wins and 18 losses. To be connected with him, stitched with him in this quilt of the beginning of the Boeheim era at Syracuse, what is that always going to mean to you? That one of the greatest coaches of all time that you were there with him building this from the beginning?
I feel extremely fortunate and blessed to come into that Syracuse program. At the time, I loved to play basketball. I wasn't a big fan of anybody. Then I went through the Syracuse program, continued to go forward and to play. Then I returned back to the United States in 1996, and I was a fan of Syracuse because I wasn't able to follow them when I was in Europe. But I would keep up with them during the summers, what they did, and talk to the coaches. But then I understood when we were going through it that it was a special, special time with players that Dale Shackelford, Hal Cohen, Lewis. I knew it was a special time. Edwin Moss. I knew it was very special, but I said, even though I know it's special, it was great to be in there on the ground floor, and it's like a family growing together. So that's the way I've always looked at it. And I've got a bunch of little brothers and one big brother, or a few big brothers, Marty Burns and my buddy Dale Shackelford. So I came out of it real well.
What emotions do you have? I mean, do you wake up sad today? Do you wake up, appreciative of the time? Do you wake up, excited about the future? I mean, how do you kind of deal with the emotions of all this? Because I mean, this is your forever coach.
Listen, it was like I said before. I went to that final game, and it was a beautiful thing. With the final game, I was able to see. So I'm very pleased that I was able to be there, and it was so emotional seeing all the players coming back. So I can't be anything except feeling fortunate and blessed that I was able just to be there that day and to listen to them talk and listen to the heartfelt speeches from the coaches, from the players, from everyone. It's just a special. I'm just feeling extremely blessed at this time.
Roosevelt Bouie Jr., Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on the heels of Jim Boeheim stepping away after 47 years and Adrian Autry taking over. Rosie, what's your relationship like with Adrian, and what can you say about the news of hearing that he's going to be the first new head coach at Syracuse in almost 5 decades?
Hey, these are all guys that I've, like I said, we've been in contact. We've known everybody time and time again. So it's he'll do good, I feel. So I'm just looking forward to everything. Time moving forward.
And as time moves forward for this team, and like you said, being connected with this Syracuse brotherhood, what's this family been like to you, to have the teammates that you mentioned, and not only to have the teammates that you mentioned, but at the same time to be able to connect with players that you didn't play with, to be able to connect with, more recent players that have come into Syracuse, to be a part of this brotherhood means what to you?
Very, very important. Coach Boeheim kept it going. So I'm just super, super pleased to be involved, man. It's I just I don't know. It's just man, it's great.
Syracuse basketball this season, ups and downs, you and I have talked about it. They end with a winning record, and I see the positives as they build toward the future. If you were sitting with the team right now, what would you want to say to them?
They put everything on the line. I mean, you can't, like I said, you just, when you're there, all you can do is give everything you got, play as hard as you can, and then see what the outcome is. Once they do that, you can't ask any more of them. You wish they would have won more. Everybody wants to win more. Nobody wasn't, it's not like they went out there to lose the game. All you got to do is go out there, play as hard as you can, and let the pieces fall where they fall. I'm just really pleased about Jesse and what he done. So his growth as a player, but hey, it's a beautiful thing. That's all I can say.
To someone who doesn't know Jim Boeheim, you would say what, Rosie, after all these years?
He was, for me, he was a mentor. He was the person that taught me the game of basketball, and I'm just super, super, super pleased that he brought me into the Syracuse family.
Yeah, coming from Roosevelt Bouie Jr. Rosie, I appreciate you, as always. I appreciate your friendship more than anything else. And,
My pleasure.
you know, it's tough. This is a different morning. I know that you're, direct, kind of like, hey, this is what I think, this is how I feel, and this is where we go. So, but I definitely appreciate the fact that you were a part of this, and I thank you for the time that you've given and for everything you've done for Syracuse. So thank you for that.
Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care. That coming from Roosevelt Bouie Jr. here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. So we're going to take a step aside for a fast break. Our third and final guest this morning of our trio of Syracuse alum, on the heels of Jim Boeheim making the decision to step away, right? 47 years, and he is no longer the head coach at Syracuse. Adrian Autry is going to be taking over. Otis Hill is going to be taking over the airwaves here in just a few minutes. Roosevelt Bouie Jr. joining us just now, and before that, Hakim Warrick. And we'll have plenty more after this fast break where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Stay with us.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge on a dollar. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience.
And welcome back back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports meets life. Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York. You'll find them on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners as well in North Syracuse in their drive-through location. And you'll find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, in their giant behemoth of a brown striped building. You can't miss it. I call it the Welcome Center. It's a double-decker cafe, and where all roads converge into Manlius, you'll find it on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. So, with that being said, we welcome you back in here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and you are with us worldwide Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com /LiveNowDT. We also have MixLR. This week we're utilizing Podbean. So in the place of MixLR, we're on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, so you can check us out there in worldwide streaming radio, and we appreciate you wherever you are for tuning into the show. Inside of MonPausPopcorn.com is what's popping. We have featured a bunch of guests all this week, and you know that for many, many years I've done this, be it in Washington, D.C., or Charlotte, North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, Brooklyn, New York, wherever the ACC tournament is and whatnot. I have had the blessing and the privilege and the honor of having Syracuse Orange men's basketball alumni on this tournament week every single season. So during conference tournament week, when I'm on site on location covering a tournament, wherever it may be, or during COVID and whatnot, when we were all at home, I've had the opportunity to share the week with Syracuse Orange men's basketball alumni, and I've made it a point to do it all year long, and this week to have a very special week that I call Tourney Time Talk. And so win or lose for Syracuse, the alumni join me every season, and I thank them all for that. Hakim Warrick joining me this morning, and Roosevelt Bouie Jr. in just a few minutes here. In less than 10 minutes, Otis Hill is going to be joining the show. And as I said to my good friend Pat Orr, who's the owner of PB&J's Lunchbox on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York, I was talking with her about this last night, and I said to her, you got to listen to Otis. I said, we always have great conversations, deep conversations, fun conversations. And beyond that, we always laugh. We always laugh. And that's something that I love so very much. I said is that we have that fun with each other. So be ready for that in a couple minutes here. And that Otis Hill and I, we always have deep conversations, thoughtful conversations, and conversations that we share laughter. And I think that smiles and laughter are what this world needs, more than a lot of things right now. I think we need smiles and laughter. So I hope that you appreciate that. I hope that you can enjoy that. I hope that you can find that in one another and surround yourself with goodness. We're here today on the heels of some very big news. Jim Boeheim, 47 years, and that's the end, right? It's the end of the road with Syracuse as the head coach of the men's basketball team. And it was very unceremonious. It was strange. It was an email. After Syracuse left the building, it was an email. And there was no quote from Jim Boeheim. There was a quote from Chancellor Kent Syverud. There was a quote from AD John Wildhack. There was a quote from Adrian Autry. And nothing from JB. So it's weird. It's strange. It feels forced. It feels uncomfortable. I mean, I was at the John Desko press conference when they said that he was mutually stepping away, and I didn't get mutual from anything I saw. And I've been close to Coach Q for many, many years. And he was the coach, and then he wasn't. So there's been a lot of things that have gone on, right? And it's hard to assess why they happen the way that they happen. But they've happened this way, and whatever the university does to celebrate or not celebrate Jim Boeheim, that doesn't affect how I celebrate him. And it doesn't affect how his student athletes celebrate him and his coaches and all the lives he's touched. In all the years I've covered Jim Boeheim, I would tell you that I would imagine he would not want to make his retirement speech outside of New York, probably outside of the Dome. And knowing Jim, he'll tell his story the way he wants to tell it, when he wants to tell it, how he wants to tell it. I hope he'll let me be a part of it. But it's a weird morning because it's like Jim Boeheim's not the coach anymore, comma, what the heck type of announcement was that? A little email blurb? A little, hey, we just left the building. We're in the parking lot. We're away from the media, so now we'll tell it because now nobody can talk to him about it. So, you know, it felt like the media were put in a cage when the announcement came out, and I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair at all. So Jim knows how to handle the media, and, you know, I feel like there should have been a press conference. You know, I feel like there should be something in the Dome. I feel like next week, you know, they should invite the fans and the media and this and that, whatever, and, you know, have a little town hall moment where Boeheim gets to sit on his court and, you know, address things. Or, you know, I feel like there should be some type of ceremony for one of the greatest coaches of all time. And if there's not, well, we're going to celebrate him here. And if there is, well, we're going to celebrate him here on Wake Up Call. Don't get it twisted. As much as it's sad and emotional, and there's a lot of things I'm feeling and thinking right now, I'm so happy for Adrian, you know, because I personally invested in Adrian over the years. I've invested in him as a human being and as a coach. I, you know, wear it on my shoulders that I wanted him to become a head coach. I speak very highly of him always. And he's incredible. You know, he's an incredible leader, and he deserves the opportunity. He really does. And I hope that people give him a chance and remember, one, this is the first time he's ever becoming a head coach. First time he's ever leading a program. So people need to give him time. People need to understand that when you're in your first year as a head coach, I shouldn't have to tell people this, but people are ridiculous in today's world when it comes to like the microwave society of why isn't it done yet? And you can't think in your head, I'm going to build a house and then walk outside and the house is built. I don't know why society is that stupid. I really don't. But society has thrown me for a loop many times in the last couple of years. If you want life to be productive and fruitful, you have to build. You can't just expect things to be productive because you want them to be. You can't expect things to happen because you thought about them. You know, anybody can sit on a couch and go, where's my $1 million? But how many people are willing to work for that? Work for the job, work for the money, work for the opportunities. And, you know, to me, Adrian has put in a lot of work for a long time. He's deserving of this. I'm happy for him. I would have been happy wherever he coached. I just wanted him to be a head coach because I knew it's what he wanted. And you should want the most for your friends. You should want the best for your friends. So, seeing him get to where he's gotten to, I'm really happy. I'm very excited. And to the fans, give him time. Let him build. Let him grow. Let him make this his own, and don't compare him to Jim. To the fanatics, just stay home. Don't even bother going to the game because you're nuts and you make no sense. And you talk about things that you're just, I mean, it's like logic is out the window. So, you know, I'm not even going to entertain anybody speaking poorly about, more than anything, my friend. I'm not even going to, you know, because before anything else, Adrian is a friend of mine. And I'm going to support him. You know, I'm going to support him. I appreciate him. I respect him. And I think he's wonderful. So, with that being said, another great friend of mine and another Syracuse alum is going to be joining the show in just a minute. And that's Otis Hill, to round out our trio on the heels of Jim Boeheim's announcement and Adrian Autry taking over the program. I've had the blessing of having Syracuse Orange men's basketball alumni here on the show this morning, as we've had for many, many years. I don't have words to how thankful I am to God that I get to wake up in the morning and talk to my heroes growing up, and some of the greatest ever. Hakim Warrick, Roosevelt Bouie Jr. coming up next. Otis Hill. You know Otis. Cuse is in the house, oh my God. He comes up right after this.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Woody Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Salsa Cuse, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Woody Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? and a smile hits both their ears, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. We are here with you in Greensboro, North Carolina all week. You know Jim Boeheim's favorite place to destination. So we are down here in Greensboro. I love Greensboro, North Carolina. When Jim said he wasn't a big fan, it wasn't even about Greensboro. It was about the fact that he was saying that nobody can replace the Garden. So he wasn't wrong in what he said. I'm joking around about it because I was there for that moment, and I've been in, the Garden with Jim. I've been in the Barclays. I've been in Washington, D.C., Charlotte, and Greensboro. So I've been in all these locations. I understand what Jim is saying. I understand big city lights. I know what he's talking about. I love New York City for New York City. I love North Carolina for North Carolina. That's not a political comment. I just like both. I just like them the way that they are. Now, if I am running for political office, New York and North Carolina better vote for me. I'll tell you that. Because I give y'all shameless plugs all the time. But no, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be on the show inside a Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here in the Cafe Kubal Studios. We're on the road in Greensboro, North Carolina. You see it behind me in the skyline. We have a trio of fantastic people on the show. Hakim Warrick, Roosevelt Bouie Jr. have been on, and Otis Hill is back with me. I told my good friend Pat last night, as I was saying before the break, I said, you got to tune in to Otis. They're thoughtful conversations, deep, reflective, and also hilarious. So we always have a good time. One of my favorite people, the 9-year-old in me is like screaming every time we get to do a show together because I can't even believe that we're friends. So I bring Otis Hill on and am a huge, huge fan of his. Blessed to call him a friend and a brother in this world, which is insane. So, no matter how many wins or losses Syracuse has from now till forever, I'm friends with Otis Hill. So my life is good, folks. Let's bring him on to the show. How we doing, Otis?
I'm good, Dan. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, man. I mean, I guess I'm doing well. So, it's been a weird morning. I dreamt about, so last night, I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell the world my dream while I tell you. So, just Otis and I having a personal conversation on the air, not a big deal. So, I had a dream last night that I was supposed to do an interview with Jim Boeheim, after his retirement.
Right.
And we went into a restaurant that was like at the fairgrounds or something like that, and we were trying to pick a place to sit, and he was super nice. He's like, wherever you want to go. And I was like, do you want to do it live? So we were going to do like a live video. And then we went into another restaurant. So I was talking with him in my dream last night and setting up this interview with him last night, which was pretty cool. But, and then I woke up this morning and I was like, is it real? I was like, is Adrian the coach? Did Jim Boeheim really retire? This doesn't make sense. And I still feel that way. I still feel like someone's going to tap me on the shoulder and go, hey, April Fools. But, here we are. And there's a lot to break down and look at. So before we go anywhere, Otis, I'd like to just get your thoughts about, Syracuse loses at the buzzer, basically, with 0.5 seconds left to Wake Forest. I'm in the Greensboro Coliseum. I'm watching the game. I'm right there. I see the shot live, and my heart sinks for the guys. And then I go into a press conference, and then Jim doesn't say he's retiring. He doesn't say he's not retiring. He said he already gave his retirement speech. I interview Jesse. I interview Benny. I leave. I go into the locker room. I talk with almost everybody on the team, and I'm talking to Chris Bell. I'm talking to Judah. I'm talking with Benny longer, Jesse a little bit longer, speaking with Joe, Malik, Quadir, and so on and so forth. Doing all my interviews. I'm the last person in the interview room, in the locker room. I walk out from the Syracuse locker room, the last media guy there. I shake hands with Jerry McNamara, I say, I'll call you soon. I tap him on the back. I walk down the hallway. I go about my life. I'm thinking in my head, I got to get all this information up. I just did all these interviews. A bunch of the players talk with me about Jim Boeheim's potential retirement. I need to get all this out there. Jim just talked about, potentially he is or he's not. I need to put that out there. So I'm going out to my computer to start doing all this stuff. And I get an email from Syracuse that says, "How's your Wednesday going? By the way, Jim Boeheim's not our coach anymore. Have a nice day." And I'm sitting here going, what in the F just happened? So I'd love to get your thoughts.
Well, last night I was driving and my instant messenger was blowing up, texts from all over the place about Coach being let go. And I said, no, I haven't heard anything about it. So then my brother sent me a quick article someone wrote about Coach being let go. My biggest thing right now is what I want to say is I am so happy for Adrian Autry. He deserves to be a coach. I love Red. Let's not get it confused. I think he deserves to be a coach. And I'm glad to see that they moved him in. Now, in saying that, Syracuse University dropped the ball. How do you, in your right mind, have the man who basically started Syracuse basketball with the Pearl, with Billy, with Derek, with John, with Preston, with the Tom, with all these great players and have these great teams and win a championship, you let him go like that? I was hurt, and it utterly disgusted me to see how they treated my coach. Now, granted, I get it. He hasn't been winning as well, and things haven't been going on, but there could have been a classier way to do that. I'm a little upset with the chancellor, with the board of ed, whoever made this decision, because I feel that Jim Boeheim did not deserve to be let go like he was trash on the street.
I mean, you said it. Otis Hill this morning, Syracuse Orange basketball alum here on Wake Up Call inside the Cafe Kubal studios. You said it. I mean, I told you my experience of it. And when we got the email, there was nothing. There was no quotes from Jim Boeheim. Not a single quote from a coach that's been your coach for 47 years. There's and an assistant before that under Roy Danforth and a player before that. I mean, this man has been in Syracuse for over 5 decades, and there was no, this is what Jim had to say, and, Jim reflecting on his career. And I just, to me, it was so weird, and it was so strange, and it was a turn of events that really made me kind of sit here and say, what the hell just happened? Because here I am in a press conference, and people are going, did he just retire? Or did he not just retire? It sounded like he retired. Do you think he retired? I had some idiot in the media who disrespected me for years come up to me and ask me for a soundbite, and I think he had his phone on. I don't know if he was recording it or not. And I sat there and gave him Jim Boeheim answers all day. And I'm standing in the hallway, and he's like, well, do you think he's done? Could he be done? Is he done? And I'm sitting here going, you think I would tell you if he was done? You think I would? You think? I was like, I feel like Otis Hill right now, or Jim Boeheim, where it's like, I know what you just wrote about me in the paper, and now you want me to give you a quote like we're friends? We ain't friends. I don't know you. I don't know no NATO. So...
Dan, too, and I get the whole aspect of it of, okay, one, we're not going to the tournament, we're not getting that money. I get it. Two, we're not winning as much as we need to be or where we think we should be, and we're not getting the top recruits, and this could be because we're not winning. Three, coach has been there a long time, people don't want this on. I get all those factors. I understand it. But I would have thought my school would have done a legend a little bit better than the way they did it. You know, I know you and I always talk about coach, and we talk about how difficult, yeah. But the fact is, the man's one of the winningest coaches. He's one of the best coaches throughout history. And like he said, 47 years. 47 years, and you put him out like an old bag of trash. And it really left a bad taste in my mouth. I actually had an old trainer who was there. She was a trainer when I was there. Her name is Tara Russo. And we discussed like how upset and how bothered we were by the whole thing. You know, coach should have went out on a high note. You and I both know he should have at least, you know, Krzyzewski, the way they did Krzyzewski is how you do it. And the way that we did it is deplorable. It's just deplorable, and I don't know how long that's going to take a lot of people to get over it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the email that I got from the university right now, and you know, it says Adrian Autry to take helm of men's basketball as Jim Boeheim's storied career comes to an end, and it talks about Jim and, you know, some of the things he's done. It says nearly 60 years ago, Jim Boeheim first arrived on the Syracuse University campus as an undergraduate student and walk-on with the men's basketball team. Little did he know that 6 decades later, he'd be one of college basketball's winningest head coaches, a national champion, a Hall of Famer, and one of the most prominent alumni in Syracuse University history. Today, as his 47th season... Let me go back to this here. Today, as his 47th season coaching his alma mater comes to an end, so too does his storied career at Syracuse University. Associate head coach Adrian Autry, one of Boeheim's former players and longtime assistant, has been named the program's next head coach. Then there's quotes from the chancellor and this and that. The chancellor, Kent Syverud, said, quote, "There's no doubt in my mind without Jim Boeheim, Syracuse basketball would not be the powerhouse program it is today. Jim has invested and dedicated the majority of his life to building this program, cultivating generations of student athletes, and representing his alma mater with pride and distinction. I extend my deepest appreciation and gratitude to an alumnus who epitomizes what it means to be forever orange," end quote. It says, in addition to the national title he and the 2003 team brought home during his 47 years as Syracuse head coach, the Orange has made 35 trips to the NCAA tournament, including Final Four appearances in 87, 96, 03, 13, and 16. Boeheim, a 4-time Big East Coach of the Year, has been honored as National Association of Basketball Coaches District 2 Coach of the Year 10 times and United States Basketball Writers Association District 2 Coach of the Year on 5 occasions. This comes from the AD. Quote, "I've spent my entire career surrounded by the biggest and best names in professional and intercollegiate athletics. Few people are on the same playing field as Coach Boeheim," says John Wildhack, Director of Athletics. Jim Boeheim is synonymous with excellence, grit, and determination. Jim is a rare breed of coach, building a program that is among the best in college basketball for nearly 5 decades. I am incredibly grateful for what he has done for Syracuse basketball, Syracuse athletics, and Syracuse University as a whole, end quote. And then it goes on to talk about Adrian. I mean, that's what we got. I got a little email article popped up in my phone. You know, and I mean, literally, folks, I'm telling you from my point of view, I was in the press conference with Jim Boeheim. I left the press conference to go into the locker room because the press conference and the locker room are open at the same time. So I was in the press conference. I ran over to the locker room. I walked out of the locker room as the last media person in the locker room. I shook hands with Jesse. I said, "Jesse, what are you doing with your future?" Jesse and I are close, as I am with many of the guys. And Jesse said, "I got to talk to Coach about it. I got to see what he's doing. I got to think about what I'm doing. And I'm going to make a pretty quick decision. There's going to be a quick turnaround." I shook his hand. I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, "I'll see you later, man. Thank you." I walked out. I saw Jerry. Jerry was talking to somebody in the hallway. I said, "What's up, Jerry?" Shook his hand. I said, I'll call you soon." I walked down the hallway, going about my life, thinking to myself, do I want a cookie? What would I like as a snack? and then it was like, and then I just kind of, and then I was kind of just like walking around doing stuff. And then I don't know what provoked me to do it, but I checked my phone, and there was an email from Syracuse. And I open up the email. This is what the email says. This is what the actual email says before you open up the article. This is what it says. It says men's basketball announcement is the title. And all it says is there's a Word document attached with a release regarding the men's basketball program at Syracuse. It doesn't even say anything about Jim.
Wow.
It's like, hey, this could be this could be notice of somebody leaving the program. This could be notice of, a quote by Judah Mintz. I mean, whatever. And so you open it up. So there's like the suspense of like, what the heck is this? And you open it up and you're like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, Syracuse left a package on my front porch. Let me open it and see what's in it. Oh, a bomb. Oh, okay. So, I mean, that's what it felt like.
Man.
It's crazy.
It really is. It's just, I'm just so flabbergasted by how they did it. Like, it just, to me, it's just, if you're saying all these great things, and you're saying he was the pillar of Syracuse, and he was the founder, and he was the walk-on, and he played, and he was the assistant coach, all those things that he has accomplished and he has done added up to nothing because the way he was done at the end. Like, I can't. There's very few coaches, successful coaches of Coach Bay's pedigree that I've known, and maybe you can tell me, that have been done like this.
I'll tell you this, Otis. There's room service, there's the Secret Service, and there's lip service.
Right.
And
right.
you can tell me, and obviously this story was written before anything even happened, because how do you put this story out 5 minutes after I walk out the locker room? You know what I mean? It's like, this was like, what do they call it? Premeditated.
Exactly.
So you know what I mean? So
premeditated murder. That's what it was.
Yeah, and so I mean, it was like this. It was like it was a plan. It was like, hey, we're gonna go to the press conference. Jim's gonna speak. We're gonna open up our locker room. We're gonna treat it like any other day. We're gonna say goodbye to the media. We're gonna go outside, and as soon as we're out of the building, where the media can't talk to us in a normally scheduled thing, and we have control, as soon as we get outside, we get on the bus, then we hit send, and we call it a day, and nobody can talk to us about it. Nobody can chase Boeheim down. Nobody's left in the building. It was literally like, the moment our last foot gets out of the building, let's send the email and head to the airport.
Right. Dan, I like, it's still kind of shocking for me to see this, but like I said, I don't want people to think that I don't want Adrian to succeed and be the coach that I know he can be. I think Red will do an amazing job, and I honestly believe, with his recruiting skills and with his know-how and all the people that he knows, I really believe if they give him a chance, I think Red could probably have us back in good standings in the ACC.
Yeah, and listen, and I know you said, you don't want anybody to misconstrue it, and I don't think anybody is, because the reality of it all is we're talking about how Jim Boeheim was handled. We're not talking about who's taken over. I'm ecstatic that Adrian's taken over. And, I sent you the articles that I wrote about Bay and then I wrote about Adrian. Adrian, to me, has been a friend. I mean, him and I have known each other for years now. We've done shows together. We've gone out and done events and sat and broadcasted live in places. We've talked to each other on the phone about a bunch of different things. We've talked about things on the air, off the air. I've spent time with him. Like the new head coach of Syracuse, he's a friend.
Right.
And now do they put all this red tape around him and say, Dan, well, now he's the blah, blah, blah. No, okay.
Right,
That's
right, exactly.
That's my dude Adrian, okay? That's the same guy that calls me up and gives me crap about my Jaguars. It's the same guy. It's the same guy who hasn't given me crap in weeks, and I don't know why he's so damn quiet, but that's all right. And, but I mean, he's the same dude with the polished face. I mean, you see, every time you see him, his face is shining. He's got a big old smile. I feel like he needs to get some endorsements. He needs some NIL deals, is what Adrian Autry needs, because he's got he's got that smile that would make you believe, hey, whatever product you're selling, I'm gonna buy it. So, I'm excited about it. He's a great recruiter. He's a great developer. I think he's going to do a fantastic job. I have no worries in my mind, and I will be more than happy to talk with anybody who wants to disrespect my friend and tell them to please go be a fan of some other stupid team somewhere else. And because we don't need you. So, I think hate and ignorance together make for a pretty nasty baby. And, anybody who's got a problem with Adrian Autry being the head coach, just don't do us all a favor and I don't know, take a vow of silence and become a monk or something. But, the reality of it all is he's going to be an awesome coach. And I'm not saying he's going to win every game. I'm not saying he's going to lose every game. I'm saying that I told him years ago 3 words when he said he wanted to be a head coach. You deserve it. And now I say the same words. You deserve it. I didn't think it was going to be Syracuse. I'm happy that it is. And I'm sure he's pleasantly happy that it is too. And so let's talk about Adrian. Why do you think he's going to be a good coach? Why are you excited for the fact that Orange is now seeing red?
The biggest thing I can say is Adrian was always kind of a coach on the floor. You know how everyone says the old adage that most point guards are coaches on the floor, but he really was that type of point guard for me. I wish I had spent more years with Red, but, I spent my freshman year with him, and I just wish I had more time to learn from him. But even when he would come back and see him, he would see me. He would still kind of give me pointers and talk about the game. I think Adrian just understands players. And I think to be a successful coach in this era, you really have to be able to connect with these young men and be able to get them to buy into your system because, like you and I have both said, the game has changed so much. And with these younger guys coming in, wanting to do the one and dones, all these players, I think Adrian has that type of personality to rally those guys together and get them in to believing in his system and going out and execute. And I think he'll be amazing at that. And also, he's probably one of the best recruiters, being from New York City. He got the gift of gab. He gonna get some good kids. So I think he will fit right in perfect in his new head coaching spot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. And like you said, he's a teammate of yours, so he's not just part of the Syracuse Brotherhood, but he was a teammate of yours. What was it like having him as a teammate, and what does it mean to you that one of your teammates on your roster in your history at Syracuse is now the head coach?
I think it's unbelievable. I think it's amazing to watch Adrian blossom into this new life as a coach, and especially a head coach. When I was at Syracuse and Adrian was there, I was a freshman, I redshirted. The biggest thing I learned from Adrian was toughness. I watched this guy, Adrian has blown out both Achilles. I watched him play hurt. We had a game, if I'm not mistaken, we were in the NCAAs my freshman year, and we were playing Missouri. And it was going back and forth. I think we went in overtime. We ended up losing by 2 or 3. But I still remember Adrian fighting on the floor, and he hit a shot where he was literally on the ground on the court, and he hit the shot. And he's looking at the ref like, count it. And I'm sitting there going, they just beat you up. You just got knocked to the floor, but you're worried about if the basket counts. Like, that's the type of player he is. New York City, gritty, tough, Mark Jackson clone is what I think of when I think about Adrian Autry.
You said Mark Jackson clone. I know that name. Why did you compare him to one of the best guards out there?
Because when I first watched Adrian play at Syracuse, that was the first thing I thought of. A lot of people don't realize a lot of guys mirror their games or have similar games to certain players. You know, I looked at Adrian as a Mark Jackson clone, pass first, great for a general, great with the ball, not a lot of turnovers, will get guys in the right spot, can hit an open jumper when he need to. You know, he just kind of had those same skills as Mark Jackson. And I believe if he had never gotten hurt, we would have saw red in the league for a couple of years, but blowing out your Achilles was tough back then. And he didn't really get the chance to do what he wanted to do. But I just saw him as that floor general. When I watched Mark Jackson, I always thought of Adrian. I always thought they had very similar games.
Great comparison. Mark Jackson, one of the best ever, played with Reggie Miller out there with the Indiana Pacers. So a lot of. I mean, I can reflect on that and hear that name and feel great about it. Here with Otis Hill, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum, coming on the heels of a very slow news day with Jim Boeheim retiring from Syracuse and Adrian Autry being named the head coach of the team. Otis, who's going to coach those forwards now is the question. Is it you? Is it Hakim Warrick? Is it Ryan Blackwell? Who should Adrian Autry call to coach the bigs? And just to put it out there, because, you know, all these dudes are my friends, so it's hard. I mean, and whoever gets it, we win. But just to remind people, Otis Hill was the best defensive lineman for Syracuse in the history of basketball. So,
honestly, I don't know Hakeem that well. I only know I only know what people talked about. I think I met him one time, but he seems like a great guy, and I don't really know him to say. But what I will say is, I think Ryan Blackwell would be an amazing addition. I've kept in touch. Most of the Orange guys, we all try to keep in touch, whether, you know, it's through text or Facebook or whatever. And I've been watching Ryan his, past 3 seasons, is it? He was at Liverpool?
Yeah, it's been a bunch.
Right. I think he would be an amazing addition. Now, I don't know if Adrian's going to do that, because most likely he probably already has people that he's going to want to put in there. But if they were to be looking for someone, I think Ryan Blackwell would be amazing for Syracuse, and we would be lucky to have him and Adrian as well. I think, and plus G-Mac and Alan Griffin on that coaching staff, I think that would be one of the greatest coaching staffs we've had in a long time.
I agree. You know, I agree. You know, and Ryan Blackwell is the name that came that came up to me. So, you know, I mean, I would love to see it. I think, you know, I mean, put it like this: Ryan Blackwell's won a state championship, right?
Right.
And he's now vying to win another one. So, you know, I would think 2 runs at a state title, sending players to Division I men's basketball. I think he's put his resume out there to, you know, now be an assistant on Syracuse's staff and be here with Adrian. I think he's more than kind of proven what he needs to prove in that world. So I think that would be a huge plus if they were to do something like that, and I would love to see it. What are you hoping that Adrian does? If you could pick anything offensively and defensively, and you could if you could write on a Post-it note and push it across the table to Adrian, what would it say about the future of Syracuse basketball?
Trash the zone. Let's get rid of that zone. Let's go man to man. Buck up defense, 94 feet. Let's go. Let's get some movement in there. You know, damn, you and I have talked about it, and like I said, I will never talk bad about Coach Boeheim. I never will, and I understand why he did the zone. But I feel like now that we have this new coach and we have all these new things, I really believe that we need to implement. I think we need to implement man-to-man. The zone is great. It really is. It can destroy. It can mess up a team, but I think you can't do it all the time. Yeah. I think that you and I both know man-to-man is the way to go.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of kids didn't come to Syracuse. A lot of great recruits didn't come because we played the 2-3 zone.
Yeah, and it hasn't really proven. It's almost worked against them when they're trying to get to the NBA.
Right,
So,
exactly.
so you look at it like if you're a kid and, and everybody knows how to play man-to-man because when you're 4 years old and you're playing basketball, they say, go guard that kid. And you say, what am I supposed to do, coach? And they literally tell you, follow that guy wherever he goes. It's not a hard defense to play. Run after him. Now, the thing is, you have to be physical. You have to be smart and not to foul. You got to be able to play guys up. But there's a reason why man-to-man is like the baseline of defense in the sport of basketball. You got to know how to play it. You got to know how to play it well. Man-to-man help defense. I think, and this is my feeling. This is not me talking to Adrian, yesterday. This is just my feeling. I think he's going to recruit bigger guys, longer guys. I think there's going to be more than a 2-3 zone, and I think he's going to want to run. That's what I'm seeing. That's my takeaway right now.
Agreed, because that's what the game is. When you're in the zone, like we said, it's great sometimes, but when you're in that zone, you're stagnant. The zone kind of makes you lazy. When I went to try it out with doing that whole thing for the NBA and trying out for teams, and I was at, I want to say, where did I go? I think I went to Sacramento, Milwaukee. Who else did I play for? I think I played for, and also the Trailblazers in Summer League. Yeah. And a lot of guys are saying, oh, you just look a lot out of position playing that zone. And it was crazy how, coaches would walk me through where I'm supposed to be at the position and where I'm supposed to be. And it's just the way it is. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's strange. I don't think you can do the zone. To me, you can't do the zone 24/7 right now. Right. Not in today's game. Not when 7'2" guys are shooting threes from half court. So, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't make sense anymore. And I think we'll see a change under Red. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see him. I'm looking forward to what the future is going to hold for Syracuse. And at the same time, I've had a twist in my gut and this feeling inside my body that I got a lot of emotion that feels like it's just it's bottled. It feels like it's all together from my arms into my chest and stomach. And I almost feel like, what is it, Ryu from Street Fighter? Then I'm going to turn it into a ball, and then you turn that arm and what does he say? Hadouken! That's what it feels. That's what it feels like right now. One of my friends told me last night. They were like, "Yo, just so you know, man." We were talking on the phone about everything. They're like, "Don't go to a bar right now and get drunk. Don't do that." And they're like, "Don't be getting in a fight out there." I was like,
"Bad time."
Yeah, I was like, "Well, I'll tell you this. I've never been drunk in my life, but I will tell you that I'm not trying to listen to anybody talk about no Boeheim right now in a negative way." And I'm gonna let you in on a little secret that I do. Don't tell nobody, Otis. When I want to say this on the air? So maybe I do, maybe I don't. But there's a way. Okay, so there's a way that I write, and you can appreciate this because you and I have talked about music and different stuff before. But when I want to calm down and want to be at peace, I'll tell you the rest of the story off the air, but I'll tell this story, the part of this on the air. I'll tell you the other part off the air. But when I was writing my stories about Jim Boeheim and Adrian Autry yesterday, I was writing them while listening to Rick Ross.
Oh, Lord.
Because listening to hip hop just kind of calms me down.
Right.
So I was listening to Both of Us by Rick Ross. And, so I'm sitting here writing my article in the media room, and my shoulders are going, and I'm bopping, my foot's going, and people are probably like, what is this man doing right now? And I was like, I'm living in a totally different world than all of y'all. I'm at a concert right now. So, but I can do that. I can listen to music and then think. Some people need total silence. I need to control the sound to the best of my ability. So I shut out the sound I can't control and I turn on something else. So yeah, if somebody walked through and picked up my headphone, they'd be like, "You listening to Rick Ross right now?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So I can say that I wrote my Jim Boeheim and Adrian Autry articles with courtesy of Rick Ross Music.
I love it. I love a little rose ain't never hurt nobody.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's right before I went on my first cruise, which was in January, went with my mom. It was a birthday. It was a birthday gift, and I got to hang out with Mom. And so we went down to Miami, and he had a song called "Port of Miami."
Yep.
And so this is how God works. I heard the song a week before the cruise. So as we're going down to the cruise, I'm like, I think when we came back, I hit the song on my phone and it starts out with Port of Miami, Port of my candy. And I was just like, yeah, I gotta play this, a little Rick Ross. Can we come to terms with the fact that I think that Rick Ross is doing one of two things. He is either imitating and making money off of Biggie's noise that he used to make. The huh, or him and Biggie were just trying to breathe on the track.
I can say it's a little bit of both. I love Big and I love Rick Ross, and I definitely would say, yeah, Rick definitely took that. But Big, I know Big has sinus problems, so that's definitely where that came from.
Because I know I have to clear because I got bad sinuses, so I got to. I got to clear that, but I've never done
right. Hey, it became his signature. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with Big.
Yeah, but I'm like you, Dan. I listen to music. I can go from hip hop to old school to Led Zeppelin. Like I grew up. Now, see, my mom and dad were from the inner city. Well, my mom was from the South, and so was my dad's family. But they both moved to New York, and they went to school, and they moved into the inner city. And I went to a suburban high school, so I know both sides of music. And I understand how it is when you're listening to music, it calms you down, and it gets you thinking in the right frame of mind. Because I don't know about Rick Ross. Rick Ross might get me a little excited. I might need some Gap Band or some Earth, Wind, and Fire. Because I'm a little bit older than you. But yeah, music definitely is one of the ways to tame the savage beast, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I like that, tame the savage beast. And there's certain music, and I'll tell you this, and I got I got a Netflix special. I want to name something about this, but I said when I do my comedy, I want him to know this, and I want him to hopefully understand this and appreciate this. Kenny Chesney's got good music, but you can't make no love to Kenny Chesney music. I mean, you can't. I tell you, I was talking to one girl one time, and we were thinking about dating or whatever, and I was like, oh. Have any of your boyfriends, when you guys are having like a romantic night, whatever, did anybody play you Boys to Men? And she goes, no. I said, has anybody played New Edition? She goes, who's that? And I said, Brian McKnight. And so I'm sitting there, I was like, oh, so you're telling me that you had relations, but you ain't never made love before.
I love it.
I was like, what man in his right mind is not playing some Boys to Men, some New Edition, some LL Cool J? Let me tell you something, okay? God has a funny way of finding me where I'm at. And I was in the car. By the way, I got to tell you this, Otis. A pretty cool thing happened. I get to the Greensboro airport, and I'm coming down the stairs. I'm about to touch the bottom of the stairs, and I hear Daniel Tortora. Can Daniel Tortora come to Delta for a message? And it was like right when I was coming down, like it was like some VIP thing. I go over to the lady, and she's like, hey, just want to let you know your luggage is coming in on this flight, da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, cool. So I go over to the rental car place. The guy looks at me, and he goes, do you want a sports car? And I was like, yeah, I do. I got myself a little, economy car or whatever. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. And he goes, all right. And then the girl says to me, beautiful lady, by the way, she says to me, she goes, you can get a Challenger or a Mustang. What do you want? And I looked at them and I said, you got to pick for me. I knew what I wanted, but I said, y'all pick for me. So she looks at the guy and she goes, you pick for him. So the guy takes it. He goes through the whole thing with me. And I want to appreciate him, too, because he didn't give me any of that mess, like, do you want to pay for your blah, 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 and then pay. No, he didn't do none of that with me, because I'm always like, no, just give me my car. I paid for it already. So at the end, he's telling me all the stuff. You're going to be in this parking spot. Come out here, do this, Mr. Tortora, ba, 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 ba. And right as he's handing me the keys, he goes, your red Mustang will be waiting for you outside.
Nice.
So I'm just telling you right now, if anybody you know is down in Greensboro, North Carolina this week, and they hear a little
you be careful now. Them Carolina cops don't like that speed. You be careful.
I was like, you're going to put me in this car in this red? Huh?
I know. You know what's sad, Dan? It's like, you know, you're talking about the ACC tournament. I can remember when, you know, the Big East tournament was a tune-up time for us.
Yeah.
You know, it was getting ready for the tournament, and you know, you could play in, or you know, it was just that time. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, "Oh, last time you and Georgetown been in the tournament," and I kind of went blank, and I couldn't believe that I couldn't remember how long it's been. And it's rough, man. It's really rough. I miss the old Big East. You know, there's a lot of things going on right now.
Well, you know what? A lot
of things going on.
And you said it's been a long time, and I want to go back to a track, and I'm going to liken it to the university without a dope beat to step to, because they didn't really give us anything to go off of. But I want to go back to the Mustang for a second. So I'm in the car, and I said, God finds me where I'm at. So I'm in the car. I pull in. I'm about to go to the hotel. And I don't even know what FM station my car is set to. And whatever station it is, I haven't changed it, because it's not only playing songs I like, it's playing like the best R&B and hip-hop from like the 80s and the 90s.
Right.
So like I'm living in this world because I grew up in it. And as I'm about to get out the car, I'm like, I can't get out the car right now. Hey Lover comes on by LL Cool J and Boyz II Men.
Cool J.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sitting there, I'm bopping in the car, and I'm like, you know what? If these women in my life didn't mess up so much, I could have had her in the damn Mustang with me. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Yeah. You know, that's what I told him. I called up my dad. I go, Dad, I'm going to get a Carolina girl. I need to get some Southern Belle. You know, I need to just work that. I need to find something in Greensboro that that I can like, that I can say to Jim Boeheim, hey, look, I found this in Greensboro, okay? So let's find something. We found something good in Greensboro. There's some Zaxby's down here. There's some good stuff. But yeah, so if anybody's listening, if anybody pulls up next to a red Mustang that's got some good music on, you're welcome. And I liken that, but yeah, what are the chances that I'm going to pull up to the hotel and Hey Lover comes on? And I was like, well, now I can't get out the car.
Right, you gotta listen to that all the way through and then get out. But you might have to see what's coming on next, because it could be a double banger, back to back.
Well, that's the thing, is like as soon as I get in the car, it's like it's not just songs I like, it's songs I love. And I'm like, and I always say that's God, that's a God incident. That's God going, hey man, you know, here's this little gift of a car you didn't think you would have. Here you go. I wanted you to have this. Here you go. I wanted you to have this song. But little did I know that I was going to be pulling out from Greensboro Coliseum last night, saying to myself, Jim Boeheim's not the coach. He's been the coach for longer than I've been alive.
Right.
You know, so like I'm so happy for Adrian, and I'm so just kind of like still in a state of flux with the fact that Jim Boeheim's not the coach right now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think a lot of us are feeling that way too right now.
So they're coming from Otis Hill. Otis, we got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss as we step forward. What do you want the world to know? Final note here, you get it. What do you want the world to know about Adrian Autry, the new head coach, and your former teammate? I know you talked about different things that you experienced with him, but if you have a final word about this new era of Syracuse basketball with Adrian as its leader, what do you want to say?
I want to tell people, give him a chance. He is new to this position, and I think once he gets in his groove and he gets everything set the way he wants it, I think people will be happy to have him as a coach, and we will do some extraordinary things in the future. So let's stand behind Adrian Autry, our new coach, and let's give him all our support and praise, because I think when it's all said and done, people are going to love the way he coaches, and he's going to bring some excitement back to the Orange.
That coming from Otis Hill, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Otis, as always, I appreciate you. I would play us out to Hey Lover, but Facebook and YouTube don't allow me to play 5 seconds of music, even if I say it's not mine. They don't even let me get a little taste of it. So just know that I'm bopping to it here during the commercial break. Otis, as always, I appreciate you. And, I think if I could pick anything that hasn't happened this week that I'd like to happen, I would have liked to have you here with me in Greensboro so that you and I could...
Next year we're going to plan that, man. Next year I'm going to make sure I clear my schedule, and I'm going to make sure that I get down to Greensboro with you so we can have us a nice little show.
Yeah, we got to have ourselves a good time. So that coming from Otis Hill, one of my favorites and the best to do it. Brother, I appreciate you, and as always, I love you, and I thank you for everything that you do.
I appreciate you for having me on the show. Love you too, and take care of yourself, and I'll be talking to you soon.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
See you. That coming from Otis Hill one more time on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll wrap things up right after this from Greensboro.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. I want to thank you for being here with me last night and our special broadcast of Wake Up Call that happened around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time last night on the heels of Jim Boeheim stepping away after 47 years and Adrian Autry taking over. And, of course, being here with me this morning with Hakim Warrick, Roosevelt Bouie Jr., and Otis Hill, a trio of Syracuse basketball alumni who spoke today on Boeheim Autry, Syracuse Then, and Syracuse Now. We thank you for being with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to continue to be with you from Greensboro, and we're going to do a live broadcast on Saturday, so you get an extended week. This week, we're going to be live on Saturday as well. So stay with us here this coming Friday. So tomorrow, Friday, March 10th, and Saturday, March 11th, we'll be here from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, broadcasting live from Greensboro, North Carolina. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. On the road, we use the hashtag WakeUpCallOTR for On the Road. You can find us on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and on Podbean, wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, where our audio is airing live. It will be available to you right after the show as well. You can find us on Amazon Music, as well as Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, TuneIn, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube. There's other channels we've been added to recently as well that I'm going to be putting up here. You can find us on all of these channels by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. To my Syracuse fans out there, make sure that you join any one of these, subscribe and follow my podcast on all of these channels, because all my interviews with the Syracuse Orange basketball team from this week at the ACC tournament, those are all on there. Jesse Edwards, Benny Williams, Joe Girard III, Justin Taylor, Claudia Copeland, Judah Mintz, and so on and so forth. Chris Bell, they're all there for you. We want to give a special thanks to our incredible partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, Avicoli's, PB&J's Lunchbox, Mom and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, 317 at Montgomery Street. The name of the location is the name of the restaurant, 317 Montgomery Street in downtown Syracuse. Get in touch with them for Syracuse Dining Weeks this week. Call them for reservations, and you can have 3 courses for $35 to try the great menu at 317 at Montgomery. Mother's Cupboard, where I have my own sandwich, the Cuse McMother. They've sold a ton of those, and it's 3 weeks old as of yesterday. So make sure you go out and get it today. It's my spin on the breakfast sandwich, a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich inside of 2 pieces of French toast, little cinnamon and powdered sugar on top of it. You can eat it like a sandwich or cut it up and have it that way. It's fantastic, and it's located exclusively at Mother's Cupboard 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on 3709 James Street in Syracuse. A big thanks to Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Chick-fil-A Watertown, and of course Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your month. We feature the AD and DT segments featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday, we have the opportunity of bringing you the Dolphin Dive, diving into the stories of student athletes, coaches, as well as administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. So you can check all of that out by being with us every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And once they are here for you on our live feed, they go to the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com. So subscribe to wakeupcalldt.com and go to the Lemoyne tab. You can also subscribe to us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and find all of our Lemoyne content there. For more information on your Dolphins, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. And a big shout out to men's and women's lacrosse, who both won their games yesterday and both remain undefeated. Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, the Bobcats are proud exclusive multimedia marketing partners of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We have the opportunity at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse to share with you the Bobcat Buzz, featuring student athletes and coaches all year round, and being able to tell you their incredible stories of these wonderful people, national championship teams, teams vying for a national championship, and a team in the baseball program in its inaugural season making history. A lot of great stuff happening with the Bobcats, and you can find it all by going to the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com, bookmarking it, following it, and saving it. And of course, you can find all of our Bobcat content by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and searching Bobcat Buzz. For more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. I want to thank my guests once again today, my trio of fantastic people, Hakim Warrick, Roosevelt Bouie Jr., Otis Hill, for all joining me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. I want to thank you for joining me this morning. The first time the sun rose and Jim Boeheim wasn't the coach of Syracuse Orange men's basketball. Go and read those articles on the article tab on wakeupcalldt.com and stay close with us. Go and listen to those interviews with the players. And, of course, all of these interviews with these three gentlemen are going to be added individually as well to all of our podcasting platforms, so you can listen back to them as well and share them with others. Thank you, Hakim. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you, Otis. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Adrian. Now and in advance. Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. From Greensboro, North Carolina, you are amazing. This is Wake Up Call inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. God bless. No stress.